Hi Taurus, welcome to 8 of Cups Tarot. Welcome to your cards for November. I'm so excited to tell everybody that November finally starts to feel good. 2020 has just been 2020. There's really no other word to describe it. I think we've coined 2020. Everybody has a very clear idea of what that means. It's probably a year we'll look back and say it broke us, but November is that part of 2020 where it all starts to make sense. Now, I'm not trying to bring any major promises, but I will tell you that we do get to see the bigger picture. We do gain clarity. Scorpio season will always be a time, and especially for you in your 7th house, where you start to gain a lot of clarity. And it's a lot of clarity about partnerships for you this month. Before I get into your cards, I want to talk about a couple of the transits and how they might be affecting you. Now, they do relate to the cards that came out, so I want to pay a little extra attention to this. And I want to draw your attention to the Mars retrograde in your 12th house. Taurus, the 12th house is kind of the house of our undoing. It's the subconscious actions, patterns that we have in our lives, and it's the areas where we kind of do a lot of self-sabotage. Now, the 12th house can represent hidden enemies, and so some of you may have been experiencing things in the past month or 2 or 3, because remember, by the time this is all said and done, this transit will have lasted 6 months through a retrograde, meaning going through areas where we're reviewing our past relationships and situations like that. And then it moves forward. And the good news is that although this transit has probably been grueling, like soul-searching kind of transit, in the end of November, well, the mid to the end of November comes a pretty fantastic breakthrough where we could start to move. Because I think out of anything, the most apparent thing has been the stagnation, right? The feeling that things are about to change rapidly, and yet nothing is really happening. You know, and you're kind of stuck between two worlds, the old and the new, and not sure what you can create. You know, the environment is not really inducive of creating new things at this time. There's a lot of obstacles. And some of the obstacles for you, Taurus, are probably on the subconscious level, probably bringing up fears that cause you to act a certain way, that causes you to miss opportunities. Now, the magical part of November really happens for you at the end of October. Well, that's good news, right? We're kind of getting it out of the way. Because we have a Mercury retrograde going through Scorpio, it's going to meet up actually with Venus in the sign of Libra. Now, they don't meet, but co-ruling and being in the same sign in this harmonious 6th house place, you might be drawn kind of to getting lost in your daily routines, getting lost, getting distracted in your job. And that's okay. That's all really good stuff. And in fact, it could be used in a really positive way, like if you're starting new diets, new workout routines, any area in your life where you're taking better care of yourself and your health is always a really good idea. However, this month you get a little bit of extra support in that department. But the emphasis is still really on that 7th house placement. The sun is in your 7th house, and we have a full moon, which is conjunct the planet Uranus, which is now in your sign. So, like, Taurus, this is about as big as it could get. This is about your heart opening. This is about discovering what you truly desire and allowing it in your life. Uranus is a planet that always demands authenticity and freedom. And being in your sign, whether that's on your sun, on your ascendant, on your moon, there's sort of this incredible wake up moment where we know that change has to occur. Uranus is always going to bring rapid and unexpected change. And I think this is a moment for most of our astrologists, especially, have been waiting for, when we start to really get a look at what Uranus is really going to do in Taurus. We haven't really gotten a good picture. We've only made it through the first decan. We're kind of on the cusp of the first and second decan. And because Taurus is such a fixed Venusian energy, it's very hard to get things to change. Meaning Uranus has to kind of gain some momentum. But this full moon is the momentum. And it's kind of like shoving that big rock up a big hill and getting to that point where it could kind of just start to easily roll back down the other side in the direction that you are in control of. So, are you ready, Taurus? Because we're going to kind of get into it with these cards. I can promise you things are going to start getting really exciting. But first, in the first part of November, there's a little bit of looking at ourselves in full honesty before we could start to make these changes. Now you are coming out as the Page of Air, and I love this. I love this for Taurus because I just feel like this is Uranus kind of forcing this flow on you, this openness. You know, I get a very mutable feeling with this Page of Air. It's very easily swayed in directions. It's cerebral, yes. It's logical, yes. But it's also talking about freedom. There might be a freedom of you being able to express yourself. And the page to me is somebody who isn't so worried about what other people are going to think or say. Now, it could warn you that you might put yourself in situations where it's probably better to take the higher road, you know, regarding communication with others. You want to make sure and be really self-aware this month that you're not kind of projecting some stuff, that 12th house transit, unresolved pain, unresolved trauma, and the Page of Air can be a little childish. So when butted up on or made, you know, if anybody were to provoke you, Page of Air can be where you sort of have a little mini temper tantrum. So you want to be aware of that this month. But I think the important higher octave of energy that you could use with this Page of Air is just to be open and to welcome things into your life, you know, open in your mind. There's a freeing of the mind this month. There's a freeing of all of those thoughts that keep you held back, any area of your life where you're experiencing kind of this analysis paralysis. And it's really about clarity. It's really about choosing a direction without expectations. Because a Page of Air just goes in a certain direction because they just want to go there. They're attracted. It's easy. It's free. It's interesting. It stimulates the mind. There's no weighing the consequences. There's no thinking really hard over what happens when we say the things that we want to say. Now the first two cards out, I think, are really all about this Mars retrograde in your 12th house. Because these are some really beautiful cards, but they are in reverse for you. And there are a lot of reversed cards. And I didn't use reversals. So these cards flipped out and positioned themselves in this way, further indicating the resistance that you've been going through. 10 of Pentacles and the Lover's card in reverse. This is a major indication of being completely out of alignment with your heart, with your true values. This is kind of the epitome of self-sabotaging. Letting go, walking away from things that you've been building up for a long time. This could symbolize walking away from a lot of things in your life, letting the ball drop. And Taurus, maybe deep down you've been very tired of holding things together, being so stoic. There's something incredibly stoic about that 10 of Pentacles, something extremely responsible. Maybe something happened. Maybe some crazy energy came through that made you say, fuck it. I don't want to do it anymore. I see this as kind of the epitome of a midlife crisis. Where suddenly you wake up one day and you don't want all of the things that you've worked so hard to have. Suddenly all those things that you thought were so important aren't important anymore. And the Lovers in reverse. Well, that might have been the catalyst. See, I see the Lover's card as something being very intense, especially in this setup. Something kind of sweeping through your life and creating chaos. Something unexpected, unplanned. Something you weren't sure was safe. Something you weren't sure you were ready for. Something that required change. Something that required connection and integration with another person. And Six of Swords tells me that this is something you walked away from. There's something here that feels like this was going to be hard, and Taurus didn't really want to do hard anymore. Granted, it was special. Granted, it was probably so close to being everything you've ever wanted. Granted, you were probably so close to reaching that ultimate goal. And Six of Swords is just a change of mind. And this Lover's card may have been a little too intense. You may have really chipped away at that 10 of Pentacles, and that 10 of Pentacles, that's a hard habit to give up. That's something that's so deeply rooted within us, and this thing comes and it wants to change everything. Tree trunks don't bend. And I think Taurus found themselves incapable of bending. Just wanting to hold on to the things that you had. Being able to control the things that you could. Sure, maybe there's more exciting things out there. Maybe there's something that makes you feel alive. But if it means that you'd have to risk this, well, everybody knows that Taurus is going to hold on to this. Clarifying those cards, specifically the Ten of Pentacles and the Lovers card in reverse. You got the Lovers, Nine of Wands, and the Empress. See, Taurus, I think that you had something that was really amazing. I think that you probably had a connection that you've never felt before. And it was probably something that you weren't ready for. So you put your walls up. You told the universe, I do not want this in my life. It's too unstable, it's too unpredictable, it's too wild. But the whole time, you knew it was the most beautiful thing in the world. The Empress card tells me that you actually blocked yourself from something the universe put in your life to expedite your growth. Something that was meant for you to experience. It was a gift. It was something to be cherished. But you didn't see it that way. And clarifying these cards is card number 17, the human gift. These Rumi cards actually all come with a poem, and I don't usually read the poem, but I think it's particularly important for me to read it to you at this time. Oh heart, what is your excuse for all these blunders? Such loyalty is offered by the beloved, yet so much treason comes from you. Such kindness is offered by the beloved, yet so much defiance and resistance comes from you. Such grace is offered by the beloved, yet so much fault and failure comes from you. Such attraction is offered by the beloved with sweetness and generosity, yet such jealousy comes from you with so much doubt and suspicion. Next card out is the Six of Swords in reverse. And I think this might be the result of that Uranus full moon. It's right next to this Lover's card in reverse. See, I think you got so far, Taurus. I think you got so far. You were so convinced. So much conviction that you were doing the right thing. You were making the right decision. You were headed to calmer waters. The Six of Swords in reverse with the Hanged One as your challenge card tells me that now you are suddenly suspended. something may have suddenly changed your mind. And if you are out in the middle of the sea running away from something that you really, really wanted, well, it's not going to be easy to turn that ship around. Six of Swords in reverse is a very stuck energy, and I think this energy is going to make you very, very uncomfortable. This state of suspension clarified by the World card in reverse and the Ten of Cups in reverse is where the universe is going to say, we need you to stay here for a little while longer. We're going to need you to kind of sit in the reality. The World card, very Saturnian energy, meaning that there are karmic lessons being learned. All of a sudden, Mars starts to move direct, yet still in that 12th house. And you get to see all the things, all the ways that you sabotage this situation. And how you got yourself to a place in which you feel the ultimate in disappointment. This is the opposite of fulfillment. This is emptiness. And you're feeling stuck in the emptiness that you consciously chose. I don't necessarily think that you're going to have to stay here forever, but I do think it's important to do the work you're supposed to do while you're here. The reason for this is probably a lot to do with your ability to express gratitude. Page of Air. I think the universe is going to hold you here until you start to find your voice, until you could say the words, until you could speak your truth. Page of Swords can represent apologies. And there might be some apologies. But I don't know if it's even about that. And the World card in reverse can mean that you might get a second chance. There might be another opportunity. Maybe there's some unfinished business. There's probably the need for a little bit of closure within whatever it is that you walked away and blocked. And the World card in reverse tells me that there's still some stuff that has to be learned. There's still some things that have to be done. This is not over because I think you have to see this from an emotional standpoint. You may not be there yet. Hanged Man and the Three of Wands. So the universe keeps you hanging out here in this place where you got to see things from a different perspective. You might have to see things from someone else's perspective. You might have to really look at the pain that you may have caused. And the Three of Wands means that there is for sure a desire building within you. There is enlightenment. That probably whatever you left and walked away from, the very fact that you don't have it might be really energizing you, illuminating that ego, because the Three of Wands can be a little egoic. Be careful of your ego at this time. Be careful of your expectations. I mean, Taurus, you may have ended something, and just the fact that you changed your mind doesn't mean that it's just simply going to be put back together. And like I said, I don't see the universe making this all that simple on you. Overall energy on this side of the board is the Seven of Wands, the Devil, and the Six of Cups. You have to understand that you may have spent a long time fighting the wrong demon. The Devil card is that thought process. It's that thing that overpowers us, right? It's that thing that tells us that it's never going to work out. People just aren't good people. You can't really trust anybody. And it's those suspicions and it's those thought processes that keep you away from the Six of Cups energy. And this is like really beautiful soulmate love. You seem to be really suspended in whether or not you believe in love at all. But I think you want it. I think you desire it. I think that you look for it. And I also think that deep down inside, you're scared to death of it. The Three of Wands is clarified by the Hierophant, your card, Taurus, the Sun, Leo, and the Seven of Cups. The universe is literally waiting for you to decide what makes you happy. And the Seven of Cups means it's up to you. It's 100% in your hands. What do you want? The Page of Air and that Seven of Cups is an invitation for you to look at things with a broader perspective. Maybe sprinkle things with an ounce of faith. Maybe don't be so rigid. The Hierophant can be a really stubborn energy of wanting things to be a certain way, needing things to appear a certain way, having some really high traditional standards. I just feel like the Hierophant sometimes is kind of like that annoying big boss energy. Like, no, you have to do this, you have to do that. That's, you know, eye on the prize, keep working, watch your money, love isn't important. You know, I see that as a voice of the Hierophant here, and there's like a whole nother world. There's like a whole nother way to live. And I think it's really scary for you. But I think you're curious. I think you've maybe gotten a taste of it. Literally taken a taste and then run away. And now you're going, should I try it again? Do I want to try it again? Or am I going to keep things the way they've always been and just move on along? The Oracle card clarifying that is card number 32, here and now. And I like this. It's a 5 card. And whenever I see 5 cards, I know the change is coming. 5 is representative of change. Sometimes it's irritating. Sometimes it's not big changes. It's a bunch of little changes that we have to do. The here and now, again, indicative that you are in between worlds right now. There's a little sign. I don't know if you could focus in on this. But there's a little sign, the past, the future, and you're right here in the middle. Meaning, Hanged Man, you really don't know how this is going to go. There's a lot of you focusing on the past in maybe some negative ways. Probably hanging on to some regrets, probably hanging on to your humility. And if you're not there regretting things, then you're probably in the future thinking about how you'll never get this opportunity again, this person's never going to change, worrying about all the ways it couldn't ever work out. And that's where I want you to be careful and not be so logical. The Page of Air is not super logical. Like, it doesn't need to know how you're going to spend your holidays or where you're going to raise your children, okay? It just needs to know it feels good. And it needs to trust that because it feels good, it might lead to good things. And I just think this journey is about being in the moment and really taking a minute. You know, Venus in Libra always boosts Taurus's energy because there's like a renewed appreciation for life. And if you could do that, if you could be in the moment, the here and now, and be grateful for the things that you do have, grateful for the time that you do have, grateful for the connections. When you start to let the universe know that you're grateful for those things, maybe it will start to bring this opportunity or opportunities similar to it back. I think the universe needs you to say out loud that you liked it. To admit that it was kind of nice to have somebody. The outcome is a 4 of Cups in reverse. And card number 66, White Raven Spirit, Trust the Magic. 4 of Cups in reverse is when you begin to feel that gratitude. And I'm talking about really feeling gratitude. Like, you know those moments like when you're out in the heat and it's really, really hot, and then you go in the house and you grab that ice cold water and like it has never tasted better. And I think that's where it needs to go for you this month, Taurus. I think you need to find the little wins. I think you need to be super satisfied with just the sips of water. And it's not to say that you're going to accept like breadcrumbs or anything like that. It's not to say that you're not going to, you know, I'm not telling you to accept less than what you truly deserve. But because you've lost something and therefore gotten a taste of what it truly was, then the only way to get it back is to express gratitude for the experience altogether. Because even if you lose it, the fact is you won because you experienced it, and now you know better. Now you know for next time. Now you know that the next time that you feel that kind of happiness, that kind of connection, that the pain of losing it is greater than the risk of accepting it. And trust in the magic is just trusting that the universe knows what it's doing. that this situation that you lost would never have been sustainable to begin with because you weren't ready. But it seems to have gotten you to a place where now you want to be ready. And that's how the universe works. All right, Taurus, I'm going to leave it at that. I do truly hope that November is a wonderful breakthrough month for you. And I'm certainly wishing you guys the best. I will be back in mid-November for the specific love readings. And then we'll be getting into December, which I promise is going to be extremely exciting. So take care, guys. I love you so much. Bye.